Took some blows, got back up and told them demons on the feet. Yeah. I feel that Holy Ghost inside me, they admire my glow. I told myself to get back up when I got down on my low.
After my mom died, I broke up with my fiance. I really didn't want to be in Florida anymore. My dad was getting older. He's 88 years old and handicapped. I wanted him to live out his last years, you know, on the beach somewhere. I wanted to write my book and my programs, my Tai Chi programs. I wanted to escape, basically. So I talked my dad into an adventure. And the adventure was that we were going to move to Costa Rica. And after researching prices of moving our things down, and, you know, it was so expensive it wasn't worth it. So I said, you know what, let's drive down. You know, we could transfer our car down there. Let's drive down. And then a few days later, I said, you know what, fuck it. Let's drive to every country in Central and South America. It'll take years, but it'll give my dad that experience. I can meet my future wife, have my future kids. I didn't have a son at that time. And it would be a crazy adventure. But I wanted to do a documentary about it. Now, my past documentaries, I've done 6 documentaries on helping other people with cancer and Parkinson's, brain damage, helping them walk, helping them heal and get better through Tai Chi and, you know, massage therapy. But that would take too long. I didn't want to do a documentary on that anymore. It would just take too long, and I don't want to be in one place for that long. So I was thinking, I said, that's it. Let's do a documentary on good deeds. So we would randomly help people. We go into a supermarket, buy their family their groceries, go into a pharmacy, buy someone their medicine, kids on the street, buy them some chips and soda, take a photo, and make a movie about it. You know, teach Tai Chi for free, teach exercise for free. That no matter if you have money, a little bit of money, or no money, and you don't even have to speak the language, you can help other people. A feel-good story, a happy story, happy movie. So we were off. And my mom died on December 30th, 2015. And we decided to leave on her birthday, December 13th, 2016. And we decided to drive to every country in Central and South America. So we packed up the car. We gave away all of our stuff. Me and my dad gave away all of our stuff just to start the trip with a good deed. And we went to Mexico, almost got kidnapped by the cartel. That story will be in the audiobook. We went to Guatemala, Belize, Honduras. And while we were at Guatemala, that's where I did my yoga training, I met a brother and sister named Shaner and Sherry, whose dad died on December 30th, the same day as my mom. And I took it as a sign. Their mom was a crackhead, you know, drug addict. They told me stories of how their mom left them in an apartment with no food, just powdered milk, no electricity. That one day they were going to the gas station, they didn't have any food, and mom decided to buy herself beer instead. Wouldn't even buy the daughter some bread. They just filled my head with all these painful, sad stories. And in my mind, in my spiritual mind, I'm taking this as a sign to help them. The sign, their dad died on the same day as my mom. I'm doing a movie for my mom. So I took it as a sign. So we brought them along with us. They're aged 20 and 21. Brought them along with us. It became family. Shaner wanted to become a DJ, so I bought him a computer and some DJ equipment. Sherry wanted to do fashion, bought her a computer, some fashion applications. Put them back in school. They had an online school with a tutor. They were doing Tai Chi. They were doing yoga. This was part of the movie. We weren't adopting them. They weren't having a free vacation. This was part of the movie. They had responsibilities. They needed to do these things. I'm filming everything. And I think I bit off more than I could chew. And in my mind, I can do anything. In my mind, I could pick up that tree with my bare hand out of the ground. In my mind, I can do anything. In reality, it's not so logical. And in my mind, I thought I can really help these two. And logically, they've had such traumas and such a rough past life that I wasn't capable of helping them. But I was trying. And while they were with us, we crossed over into Belize. I had them meditating, doing yoga. And then we went to Honduras. And long story short, they started taking advantage of us. They started becoming ungrateful. They stopped saying thank you. They started expecting things. Now they're with us almost 4 months. I'm donating blood with them. I'm taking them to charity events. I'm trying to do everything that I'm doing. Now, I'm not the perfect person either. I have my own faults and mistakes. I grew up in the projects. I was a police officer. Sometimes my patience level is a little thin. I'm not an angry person. I'm always a happy person. But I don't take no shit. And long story short, Shaner starts becoming disrespectful. And becoming disrespectful to my 88-year-old handicapped father. Attitude's different, walking different, not eating with us. So I thought in my mind, as his bigger brother, because that's how I looked at him. I love them both. They're like family. I love them both. I really, truly love them both. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought them with us. And in my mind, as an older brother, I was going to teach the little brother a lesson, a man lesson. Now, when you teach someone a man lesson, men will understand this. Real men will understand this. When you teach someone a man lesson, you're not trying to hurt them. You're trying to teach them. And as a man, you have to teach in a strong way because you're a man. And I'm filming everything, and he became disrespectful to my father. And so I brought him downstairs, made him take off his glasses. And I open-handedly slapped him once in the face. I should have used baby powder for the effects. But I open-handedly slapped him once in the face. Never said ow. No blood, no bruising. And I told him, don't you ever fucking disrespect me in my house. After everything that we're doing for you, you're going to disrespect me and my father? And trying to teach them, bless you, see it's true. Trying to teach them respect. He didn't have a father in his life. He didn't have an older brother. And if he's using this type of energy out on the streets, especially in Guatemala or in Central America, he'll get stabbed. He'll get stabbed. If you don't have respect down there, you get stabbed. You'll be killed. And at that point, the sister got in between us. And she's trying to do everything. And he started to move. So I took him down to the ground. I put him in a jiu-jitsu move. Controlled him. Not hurt him. I controlled him. I'm still talking to him. Don't you ever fucking disrespect me and my father. This is our house. This isn't your house. The sister decides that she's going to open up the door and start screaming, help! Help! He's killing us! He's killing us! Neighbors come in. There's a language barrier. I don't speak Spanish. I'm on top of him, talking to him. My dad's filming. And neighbors are coming in. It just looks like a bad situation. And they wanted to leave. So I said, fine. They had their passports. Gave them a few $100s. I'm thinking in my mind, we're going to go to a hotel for a couple of days. Probably go party, have some fun, relax. After a couple of days, we'll talk again and fix it, right? We're a family. We're a family. That's how I looked at them. We're a family. Well, they decided, now we're on the island of Roatan, so you have to take a boat to the mainland. So they decided, not to go to the police in the island, not to go to the police at the boat dock before they left. They decided to go to the mainland, to go all the way to the end of the country, bordering Belize, to make a police report there that my father and I kidnapped them. We kidnapped them from Honduras into Belize. We kidnapped them again from Belize into Honduras. That we tortured them. We held them captive. We chained them to the beds in their bedroom. That me and my father were raping them in every possible way that you can imagine. That I made the brother, now they wrote this on a police statement. They wrote this and signed this. That I made the brother have sex with the sister. And I was filming it. Fucking crazy. So they made that police report and then left the country. Now, in Honduras, the law there is, if you have two people making a police complaint, they go and arrest you. If you have two people saying you did something, the police will go and arrest you. Once you're arrested, you spend 8 days in jail until you see the judge. The judge looks at the evidence. If there's enough evidence to find you guilty, if there's enough evidence there, they put you back in the jail and you have to wait through the court processing times to see the judge, which could take years. But there's no bail in Honduras. Once you're in, you're in. There's no coming out. If you don't get out in those 8 days, ciao, ciao. So the police and the SWAT team come in our house, machine guns and everything else, and they arrest my father and I. They tore our place up. They stole everything. They stole my money in front of me and laughed at me as they're putting it in their pockets. They destroyed everything we had. They spread my mom's ashes all over. They arrested my father and I. Luckily, thank God, they put my father in a different cell, a different area because he was handicapped and older. And when they arrested us, I had 4 grams of marijuana in my kitchen. Using it to sleep, using it for my dad's arthritis. Wasn't much. It's like 4 cigarettes. We go to jail. Now, while we're in jail, my first day in, I was a police officer. I grew up in the favela, in the projects in Philadelphia. I know how the streets work. I know how jails work. But I also know that I'm in Honduras. I don't speak Spanish, and I'm white. I know I'm fucked. I know I'm going to have some problems. And when they arrested me, they left me in handcuffs for 17 hours. This one police officer left me in handcuffs. Now, my hands are cuffed in the front, but the cuffs are tight. I can't move. I had such bad pain that I was crying. And they finally called the nurse to give me a shot. So nurse comes in, gives me a shot in my arm. And then she had to give me 2. But that nurse is going to play a very important role. Once they take me to jail, I'm sitting outside the jail cell, and the jail's outside. There's no inside. There's no windows in jail. It's 1 gate, 2 rooms, and a hallway. That's the only way in, the only way out. And as I'm sitting there waiting to go in, there's no lights on the inside. Everything's dark. They're all Spanish and black. I can't see nobody. I can hear them talking. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm like, oh. Was I scared? No. Was I nervous? No. Was I about to battle possibly for my life? Yeah. Absolutely. And I couldn't have fear. I couldn't be nervous for that moment. Can't be nervous in battle. Can't be nervous in war. Can't have fear going into a battle or a fight. No. I had to stick my head up, walk in like a man. As soon as I walk in, I can't see nothing. Everything's dark. Now, there's no beds. There's no food. There's no water. They don't feed you there. They don't give you water. They don't give you nothing. You sleep on the floor. So, and the floor's concrete. So once I walked in, I said, all right, let me put my back up against the wall. There's a hallway and then 2 rooms to the right. Let me put my back up against the wall, kind of figure out where I am. I don't want to be, first thing in prison, you sleep or you step in somebody else's spot. Whether it's true or not, it's an opportunity for trouble to start. With my back up against the wall. It's dark, there's no light. I'm trying to let my eyes adjust. I can't, it's black, brown, and Spanish people in the cell. They blend in with the shadows. I can't see nothing. I'm trying to let my eyes adjust. And then all of a sudden I hear, hey, gringo, ven aquí. And the voice was coming to the right. When I look to the right, now there's like a candlelight in that far back room. And I said, oh, shit, here we go. I'm prepping for this. I'm ready to fight. Figured I was either going to get robbed or jumped. Either way, I'm going to be swinging first. It's just first day in prison. You got to do what you got to do. So I go in the back, and I see there's 8 guys there. Gang members. Tattoos all up on their neck, everything else. So I immediately put my back up against the wall. So my back up against the wall, and now the people are around me. And he said, hey, gringo, give us your money. So I took a bladed stance, turned myself to the side, closed my fist. I said, no, it ain't gonna work like that. And he said, gringo, give us your money. And another guy on my right side tapped my pockets. And as he was tapping my pockets, I slapped his hand out, back slap, turned again, closed my fist. I said, no, it ain't gonna work like that. Now at this moment, I'm expecting somebody to come and do something. Meaning I'm expecting a fight to start. So in my mind, I already planned everything. I'm punching this one in the throat. This one's getting kicked in the nuts. This one's getting poked in the eyes. I'm knocking this one out. I'm right hooking this one. In my mind, I already have my 8 moves set up. This is what I had to do. And at that moment, the guy said, no, gringo, you don't understand. They don't give us water here. They don't give us food. They don't give us cleaning supplies. Everybody has to pay rent. It's called the Clara. I don't know. I've never been in a Central American prison before. I said, okay. Oh, that makes sense. I understand. I said, okay, well, when I get some money, I'll give you some money. He said, when you get money? You don't have any money on you? I said, no. I spent it all. I bought some food. He said, you were going to fight us all, and you don't have any money on you? I said, damn straight. He starts laughing. He said, gringo loco. So I start laughing. I said, suave. And then my name became Gringo Loco Suave. And that's when I carved it on the wall in that room with a little screw. It took me 4 days. And they helped me. So my name became Gringo Loco Suave. 8 days later, sleeping on the dirty ass concrete floor in prison, we go to court. In court, I had a translator. Now, let me tell you the other part of this. When I first got arrested, the governor, ex-governor, comes into the police cell and says, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm from the embassy. You're from the embassy? Well, let me see some documentation. Nah, I don't have any ID. What do you mean you don't have any ID? You're from the embassy. Yeah, I left it. Well, how'd you get here? I drove. You don't have any proof of identification in your car? Nah. Listen, man, I ain't got time for this. You need to take this lawyer. Well, I don't know who the fuck this lawyer is. I already see the extortion coming from it. listen, man, if you don't take this lawyer, you're not going to have a lawyer. Then what are you going to do? I'm like, oh, man, I can't use a phone. He said, if I take this lawyer, I can use his phone to contact my family from the States. Otherwise, nobody knows. And nobody has numbers, right? This is the age of social media. Who remembers phone numbers? So I said, all right, man, I'll take this lawyer. Made me sign some contract. This lawyer turns out to have the same identical name as the judge. Not off by one number or letter. The same identical name as the judge. Is this not extortion? Do you see this movie starting to play out? So when I go to court 8 days later, my father's not in the room. They're making my father wait outside. Now, why is that? If there's charges against my father, why is he waiting outside? Because what they were trying to do was just show my face. If they're trying to show my dad in there being handicapped, how's my dad going to kidnap and rape and torture two people? So that was part of the extortion plan. So once we're in there, my translator, who's supposed to be translating, doesn't translate anything to me. And when I'm asking questions like, hey, what's he saying? Shh. So now they're having this trial against me. I don't understand what's going on. I can't ask questions. I can't talk. I can't give any feedback. And then I finally understand the judge say, you know what? I'm not ready to give a decision on the kidnapping and the torture and the pornography and the rape and all this. I'm not ready to give a decision on that yet. Let's go to the marijuana. I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean you're not, I'm innocent. What do you mean you're not ready to give a decision on this yet? That moment, I got scared. That moment, I was nervous. We're looking at 60 years in an Honduran prison. The worst prison in Central America. So I started praying. I started praying to God. Started praying to my angels. I started praying to the judge's angels. I said, please just let him see the truth. 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 Because if he sees the truth, he knows that we didn't do any of that. It was all lies. He goes back to the criminal, the torture, the kidnapping. He says, innocent. I don't believe this happened. You're innocent of all those charges. Oh, thank God. Thank God. What a relief. And then he says, however, they charged me with narco drug trafficking for 4 grams of marijuana. Narco drug trafficking. 5-year prison sentence. However, not personal use. Narco drug trafficking. Extortion. He said, I find you guilty. I find you and your father guilty of narco drug trafficking, and I'm sentencing you both to 5 years. Are you fucking kidding me? For 4 grams of weed? Now, here's my options. I could fight it. I can appeal this decision. Possibly wait years. I'd be in prison for years before I see a judge in a trial, to have them say it's for personal use and let us go free. So I'm spending years in prison for eventually saying, okay, it's personal use. That's one option. The other option is I plead guilty to this crime. My dad goes free. Obviously, I'm going to do that. I'm going to plead guilty. And they told me if I plead guilty, I'm going to be sentenced to 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison. But since it's my first time, And Honduras has a law where you're sentenced to 5 years or under, you can pay a fine and get out. So I said, fine. I signed the paper. I'm guilty. I take responsibility. Let my dad go free. Obviously, I'm going to... Why would I have my dad go to prison when he doesn't have to? Obviously, I'm going to take that. I'm thinking, okay, I'll just pay my fine. I'll be out like in a couple of days. No. It takes months. So they sent me back to the prison that I was in with the 2 rooms. And now I have to wait until the process and the paperwork goes through. Now, if you think the United States paperwork and processing is slow, you haven't been to a third world country. So I'm in this prison. I said, man, the best thing that I can do is to stay here. I already have everything set up. I'm not in any trouble. There's not that many people there. There's like maybe 30 or 40 people in there. Even though I'm sleeping on the floor, I'm okay. Well, I start getting an infection in my leg. And I got a staph infection from sleeping on the dirty floor. And my leg's swollen up. I got the red line going up my leg. It's pussing, it's oozing. They won't take me to the hospital and they won't give me a nurse. Finally, because they think that I'm this bad criminal, right? They don't know the truth about anything. All they know is the headlines of the clickbait of the articles that were sent saying how 2 gringo missionaries kidnapped 2 little people across 2 countries and raped them and filmed it. So they finally give me a nurse. And this nurse who comes was the same nurse who helped me when I was first arrested, when I had the back pain, when they left me in handcuffs for 17 hours. And this nurse is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful grandmother type of energy, really soft, really sweet, just like somebody you just want to give a hug to. And she's very gentle in my wounds. She's coming to clean it every day. I'm giving her some money. They don't make money. And she's very helpful. And she would always bring her granddaughter, always give me hugs and everything else. So she helped me. And then all of a sudden one day, now there's people are getting transferred. Now this is a prison in Roatan. And people get transferred when you have longer prison sentences. You get transferred to 1 or 2 prisons. There's La Granja, which is for murderers, violent criminals, and offenders. And then there's La Playa, which is a prison for drugs, just strictly drugs. Well, I'm found guilty of narco drug trafficking, 4 grams of marijuana. So I'm thinking if they do transfer me, I'm hoping they don't, but if they do transfer me, I'm going to be transferred to the La Playa, the one for drugs. So in the morning, they're taking roll call. Washko. Ew. Granja. Fuck me. Oh. They're sending me to a violent prison. Now, one of the guys who I was in the current prison with was in there before, not too long ago. In that prison, 4 or 5 years before I'm going there, they had a riot. Hundreds of people died and were burned alive. They were playing soccer with one of the gang members' heads. Soccer with someone's head. That's the prison I'm going to for 4 grams of weed. Was I nervous? Fucking right. Oh, man. Now, here's the other thing. They don't give you time because they have to transport you to the boat. You have to take the boat to the mainland. So they don't give you... It's not like, hey, okay, you're going to go to this next prison in like 4 days. No, you're going within hours. So you can't call anybody to like break you out of jail. Well, at that point, I have no money. I'm tapped out. I have no money. I need money to pay the rent in the other prison. Every prison you go to, you have to pay rent. Now this one, I got away with it. In the other prison, you're not going to get away with it. They call it calera. If you don't have money to pay calera, that means you're the trash boy of the prison. That means you're walking around all day long picking up trash. And everybody knows you don't have money. If someone spits on the ground, you have to pick that up. And if you don't pick it up, everybody beats you down. I said, oh, fuck me. Now, this prison has 600 inmates. There's no gringos in there. They're all violent felons that's committing stabbings, shootings, murders, rape. The worst of the worst is in this prison. And I'm going there in hours with no money. So there's a phone that was smuggled in. So I'm trying to call my friend to get a hold of my dad so he can transfer some money. And he doesn't answer, he doesn't show up. I'm leaving messages. They put me on the boat. Now I'm on the boat. Now there's no way I can get money. I'm trying to think of different ways to maneuver around this. Hey, I'll pay double, just give me a couple more days, or just trying to think in my mind what I can do. As we're turning onto the road in the mountains to go to this prison, there is my friend waiting with money. Thank God. He was already on the mainland. So when he got my messages, it was perfect timing. Thank God, what a miracle. Now I had money to pay my rent. I was with 3 or 4 other people. Once you go to this prison, there's a holding cell. There's no guards on the inside of this prison, by the way. There's no guards. The prisoners police themselves. If there's a fight or something happens, you're on your own. So there's a holding cell before you get into the main prison. There's a holding cell. So when new people come in, they put you in that holding cell. Everybody is coming over to see who the new fresh meat is. Everybody already knows me because I've been on the news and everything else. So they're like, that's the gringo who kidnapped and tortured two little girls. It got to, like, you know how stories, rumors transfer around and just keeps on getting worse and worse. They were 20 and 21 years old. They weren't 2 little girls, but that's what they're telling me. So now I'm like, oh man, now they think I'm like this pedophile, rapist, pornography actor guy. Oh, and you know what they do to them in prison. So being a police officer, being grown up in the projects, I knew I just had to keep my head up, keep my strength, be respectful, and not cause any problems. So once they opened up the gates, there's just a line that formed. You can't walk anywhere else but through this line, which goes to the #1 prisoner, who's the chef, who controls everything. What he says happens. If he says, beat him up, everybody beats him up. So you have to pay him the rent. So as I'm walking through, this guy steps in front of me, puts his finger in my face and says, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I just looked at him in his eyes, didn't flinch, didn't move, and then he steps out of my way, and I just keep on walking. I didn't have my fist clenched. I'm walking with respect. I'm not stupid. Once I paid my rent, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stay low key. Everybody knows I'm here. I'm in a much bigger prison with over 600 people. My odds of getting into a fight, my odds of trouble are a lot higher than my last prison. I said, so I'm just gonna stay low key, basically gonna stay in my cell all day long. I'm not gonna wander out, I'm not gonna make friends, I'm just gonna be on the DL. So the first night, they do the head count and you get locked in your cell. And my cell is the second bunk bed up from the floor, but it's to the wall. So you can reach your hand in through the gate and touch my foot. And as we're all locked in, we're locked in about an hour. And all I hear is, "Hey, gringo, you know my mom?" And I look, and right at the door is the same guy that says, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." I said, "Oh, fuck me, man. It's my first day. I just got in my bed. This guy is now using that I know his mom. He just said he's gonna fucking kill me. Now he's using that, 'Hey, you know my mom?' to fucking start trouble with me." I said, "Oh, man. But I can't be a bitch." I said, "Bro, I don't know your mom." "No, gringo, you know my mom." I said, "Man," I said, "I don't know your motherfucking mom. I don't know your aunt, your cousin, your neighbor. Leave me the fuck alone." He said, "No, gringo. My mom was the nurse who helped you in the other prison. She says that you're a friend and for me to take care of you." I said, "Oh, shit. I love your mom." I said, "Your mom was so good to me. She's like a mom. I always gave her hugs. I always gave her some money. I love your mom, man. She's so sweet. And your little sister, I love them." Holy shit, what a miracle. From that day of how he's going to kill me, now how he's going to help me. He said, "Tomorrow, I'll get you out." So the next day, so I'm in the cell now with 40 other people. Bunk beds high up. No air conditioner, no fan. It's hot as balls in this prison. Hot as balls. He moves me into another cell that only has 8 people. It's just 2 bunk beds. It's an air-conditioned room. And I am sleeping above the number 1 prisoner in the jail, in the prison. And why is he number 1? Because he sells 12 pounds of weed a week. He's that guy. He's the number 1 guy in prison. And he became such a good friend with me and protected me. And that guy who said he's going to kill me gave me a brand new t-shirt the next day. They both took care of me. Now, in this prison, they have a spring-fed water. So that's your water. And you get rice and beans 3 times a day. That's it. Just rice and beans. You get 1 chicken wing once a week the size of my pinky. That is it. That's all you get. Well, since I was connected with the number 1, I had fish, chicken, meat, fruit. I've never smoked so much marijuana in my life. And I grew up in the projects. I was on the streets. I was addicted to drugs. I smoked a lot of marijuana in my life. I never smoked more marijuana in my life than in Honduras prison. And I never had to pay for it. I never had to pay for the food. I never had to pay for protection. I never had to pay for anything. I gave them money, but I never had to pay. They never asked me. I was never robbed. I was never in a fight. My booty hole's still a virgin. Nobody ever tried to mess with me. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, my angels. It was a miracle. Now, if you watch the video of the day before I got arrested, and when I seen my angels and I seen this other energy giving me a blessing, and it was a black image. I could still see it in my mind. It looked like the penguin guy from Batman. And at first, I thought, he was giving me a blessing, and it was a positive, even though he's dark and black, it was a positive energy, a positive spirit giving me a blessing. And once I realized things, I realized my angels made a deal. You know what they always say, making a deal with the devil? My angels made a deal to keep me safe. And the deal was, that I had to take on this blessing of a negative spirit. I know it sounds weird, but just hear me out. And so this negative spirit was now in my team of angels. He was invited in. So what's in prison? Who's in prison? What kind of energy is in prison? 90% bad fucking people. 90% bad energy, demons. Like, when you think of murderers and violent criminals and felons and like just the worst of the worst people who are in prison, what do they have? They have the worst of the worst demons around them. And I had to live in that environment with my angels, with my type of heart, like with my type of everything. So my angels made a deal that I would have a negative blessing as a pass. So if I'm walking into prison, just with my angels, I'm probably gonna have a hard time. But if I walk into prison with my angels and this negative spirit, and all the other demons see this negative spirit in the spiritual sense, and this negative spirit is a high-ranking spirit in the negative world, what he says goes. It's like having a lieutenant, and the lieutenant says no, he's with me. And that's what I believe would happen to me in jail, and that's what I believe what kept me safe, and that's what I believe allowed me to have the miracles and the blessings in that moment. But what was the price? Well, the price was that negative spirit, from addictions to negative energy to things that are negative, because they feed off of negativity. So, I dive back into some of my addictions in prison. I was in the environment, I had to do what I had to do to keep the environment cool and safe, and that was part of it. Even after prison, after I got out, still fed my demon, that demon in particular. And to get a demon out of your energy, first you have to recognize that it's there. If you don't know it's there, it's like an addiction. If you don't know, you kind of have an addiction, but if you don't face the addiction, that demon's always going to feed. And it wasn't until I realized with my double 2.5 shot of ayahuasca, of reserve, of the super duper strength, and almost dying and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, is when I realized I got rid of, my angels got rid of that spirit. And the only way that I could get rid of that spirit is to take me right to the light of heaven, to the light of the tunnel, because a demon can't get that close. And if you're going that close where you're almost dying, then whatever demon is going to be burned. They can't go to heaven. They can't go to the light. So in that moment, that demon had to leave. And that's when I got free. And then that's when I realized that demon was given to me to keep me safe in prison. And there's many times in prison where the people that I was with, that number one and that number two, had trouble and they were about to fight. For some reason, my direction in life, I went to another cell. I went to visit somebody. I went to go get my hair cut. I wasn't in those moments where they were almost going to fight, because I would have protected them. I would have sucker punched these other people instantly, and that would have only prolonged my time in prison, possibly got me stabbed or killed. So I was very well protected in prison, and everything happened perfectly. I was saved, And my angels redirected my path back to my destiny, which led me to this book. I have evidence God exists.